Want to know what it's really like to be on a river cruise in the middle of winter in Europe, whether it's the Danube, the Rhine, or the Rhone? Are you considering snow-covered castles and mulled wine on your deck? Well, this video is a 20 must-haves for everything you need to remember when you're going on your first river cruise in winter here in Europe. So grab your favorite slippers and a hot toddy because we're going to dive right in. Let's talk about a couple of items before you go on your cruise. Number one is picking the itinerary that's best for you. Make sure that you are stopping all of the time to see these amazing castles and all the sights. Also, pick an itinerary that if it's going to the larger cities that you can actually dock there, maybe 2 nights. That will give you an opportunity to get a real feel for that city. The second thing about picking your cruise, pick things that have the right food and wine program that you're interested in. If you're really into food and wine or you're just into quantity, there is a difference. So for example, the river cruise I'm on does not have room service and doesn't have like midnight buffet. So if you're all about the quantity, this may not be the cruise for you. But if you're looking for better food and a nice wine program, then this ship, which is the Viva II, might be the perfect fit for you. Another thing to think about on your itinerary is your activity level. Are you more sedentary and need the buses to take you on the tours or the little pavement choo-choo trains? Or are you more active and want to go hiking and biking and go to the gym? Make sure, if you're a gym rat, make sure that your boat does have a gym. So the itinerary is very, very important, from location, how many days you're spending, and the activity level. Also, the duration is also very, very important. I'm currently on an 8-day river cruise and I think it's a perfect amount of time. I'd say a week is great. Maybe 4 days might be a little too short. Now for a couple of tips for picking your cabin. If you would like to be in a suite, you want to pick the suites, and the suites tend to be closer to the lounge area, which is towards the center of the ship. Another tip that's extremely important when you're picking your room, I would always pick a room that has at least a small balcony, a Juliet balcony where you can open the sliding glass doors and look out, or a balcony. Usually the balconies on the suites and the higher up actually have maybe a little sitting area outside, which is really nice. If you just have portholes or you're in the bottom layer of the boat, you likely only have a window, and it's so nice to open up the door in the evening and just look outside. And maybe if you are hot-natured anyway, you can open up the door even in the middle of winter while you sleep in the nice cozy bed. I would recommend staying away from the back of the ship, and if you have an option to choose your cabin, because at the back of the ship is where the motors are, and when you are traveling at night, actually there's a lot of movement and vibration at the back of the boat. Also, at the very front of the boat near the lounge, if you're a light sleeper and you go to bed early or get up late, being at the front or sort of mid boat right next to the lounge is likely to be a little bit louder. So that's something to think about. Additionally, you want to, typically the river boats are 3 layers high or 3 stories high, and the bottom layer is the closest to the water, so it's going to be darker, but there's going to be less movement closer to the water. The higher you are, which is typical in most cruises, the higher you are, the more the boat is going to rock. Now that being said, I have to take motion sickness pills when I'm on a cruise, on a catamaran, but on the river cruise, I've not needed it. The Danube is very easy to navigate and has been very, very smooth. Now I'm going to share a couple of packing tips. I do have an entire packing video for a winter wonderland river cruise, but these are just a couple of items you want to make sure that you have. Binoculars, summer, winter, anytime you want to have binoculars on your river cruise. Also, you probably want to keep the stilettos at home. You are moving like on a cruise, not as much as normal, but you want to keep your shoes low heeled. You do want to have maybe one nice outfit for a nice dinner, but in general, you can run around in, I have to say, slippers. Make sure that your slippers though are non-slip, so you're not wobbling up and down the hallways of your river cruise. Also, something that is super interesting to do, it is download your meditations, your podcasts, your movies, your favorite things that you like in advance of getting on the river cruise. There is a lot of downtime on a river cruise, and it's really nice to rest and relax and enjoy your time with your favorite podcast. A lot of the cabinets and everything in the cabins are made of metal. So if you bring magnets with hooks on them, you can actually hang up your clothes and your towels, etc. in your room with the magnet hooks, which is such a great tip that one of my friends told me about. Those are just a couple quick tips. Make sure to watch the entire video about everything that you need to pack. So let's move on to the next section about what to do while you're on the cruise. My first tip for when you arrive on the boat is to go ahead and book your restaurant reservations, your sauna, spa reservations, as well as your excursions if they've not allowed you to book those in advance, which is quite typical. So as soon as you get on the boat, you get your luggage, you can run to your room, check it out real quick, but then go back to the concierge and back to the front desk because you want to make sure that you're booking all of that in advance. The restaurants are small. The main restaurant, that is usually the buffet, is not small, but the others are quite small. Additionally, excursions do fill up as well. And definitely the massage. On these river cruises, there are only like 190 passengers, and there may only be one masseuse that is booked up hour after hour after hour. And another tip I would say, I would go ahead and book my masseuse and your restaurant reservations when you are traveling and not when you're supposed to be spending time in these beautiful cities along the river. Speaking of excursions, I do recommend taking as many excursions with the boat as possible. I also suggest that you do a couple excursions on your own, but something to think about with those excursions, if you're booking your own, don't book them immediately after you dock at the port. Now, yes, you can book it immediately after you dock. Because of locks and because of timing, sometimes you don't dock on time. There were a couple of days that we were supposed to dock around 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. and we were actually an hour to an hour and a half late. So if you're going to be late, you won't make your optional excursion. So just give yourself a nice window. Remember, this is vacation, and give yourself a nice window of time before you have to be at your optional excursion. Also, I do like listening to all of the education that is on the riverboat. They talk about the river you're on, the cities you're passing, the areas you're going to. Do take advantage of the history lesson, the geography lesson, and the education provided by the team on your riverboat so you can know what you're headed. The whole reason you're here is to enjoy that lap of luxury. One really important thing to think about is when you get off the boat, every single time you get off the boat, make sure you swipe your key card so they know you've left, and when you come back, you swipe your key card so they know you're there. Just in case something happens when you are off the boat and you get lost, they will go looking for you if you haven't swiped back in. Also, every time you get off the boat, make sure you take your GPS like Google Maps, etc., and pin your location of your boat. I not only pin my location, but as I walk up the steps from the river and from the boat, I take a photo of the cross street, or I take a photo of a restaurant that's right there. That way, if you are trying to get an Uber or a taxi back to your boat, you may not know exactly what it is, but you can always tell them that you're going to this restaurant that you just took a photo of. That's a huge tip because it's so easy to forget where your boat is docked. These last two tips, I know this is more than 20, are about the people you're going to meet. First, let's talk about the team and the staff on your river cruise. Sometimes they are on the boat for an entire season at once without really a day off. I mean, yes, a day off, but they're on the river cruise and they are it's their home, it's their work, they're working long hours and working for you. So do bring some extra tip money for the end of your cruise. Be kind to them because they are taking such great care of you. My cruise, the Viva, this cruise is 190 passengers with like 52 staff. So it's like one staff person per less than 4 people on the cruise. So be kind to them. The other thing is about the people you're going to meet. There are incredible people on every cruise that you're going to take. And my recommendation is to go ahead and sit at a table at the restaurant that is a 6 top or an 8 top and ask other people to sit with you. Go to the lounge, sit at the bar, meet the other interesting people that are on the cruise. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to come across. So those are my 20 or 20-ish tips. Remember, I'm Kim the Abundant Traveler. Make sure to watch my other videos on river cruising, and I cannot wait to see you on some amazing cruise very, very soon. Take care. Bye, y'all.